Now, bringing you the very best in New Hampshire-based local music on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet, this is Local Outbreak.
In the street to have a mom, you're not next to me. I'd rather go hungry and wither away than to eat like a king by myself every day. In a crowded room, if I can't be there with you. In the pouring rain than to walk in the sun and not see your face. Rather not dance to an old fiddle tune. If I know I can't dance for you, if I knew you'd never be by my side, I'd rather sleep in a box alone in the street than to have a mom, you're not next to me.
If I Can't Be With You is by Mr. Cameron Sutphin, who is here with us. Welcome, Cameron.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, and I'm looking forward to hearing you play. You did bring your guitar. And by the way, so congratulations are in order, I believe. You're about to get married?
Yes, I'm getting married, so we're less than a week, so I'm getting married next Friday.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I saw your Facebook post. This is your last public performance before the wedding?
So I'm doing the Sandown summer concert series on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Because my fiance and I are both working right up until the wedding.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Good for you. So. Well, I'm dying to hear you play something. If you want to.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so this is the first track on the album. It was put out last month, and it's called John Henry. This was my attempt at writing a John Henry song, because being a folk singer, I wanted one because everyone else has one.
All right.
John Henry was a steel driving man. John Henry was a steel driving man. He never worked for coal 'cause they torture the land. John Henry was a steel driving man. The mountains are being torn down. The mountains are being torn down. Faster than John Henry ever swung his hammer around. The mountains are being torn down. There's dirty water in the streams. There's dirty water in the streams. That ain't good for man, but they only care about machines. There's dirty water in the streams. Henry beat the steam drill with only a hammer in his hand. But it'll take more than that to rid coal from this land. The air in the mountains ain't clean. The air in the mountains ain't clean. And you can't beat a steam drill if you can't breathe. The air in the mountains ain't clean. John Henry was a steel driving man. John Henry was a steel driving man. He never worked for coal 'cause they tortured the land. John Henry was a steel driving man. John Henry was a steel driving man.
Cameron Sutphin is with us live in studio here, and you sound great. Your voice is unique. I can't think of anyone who sounds quite like you. Do you get compared to anybody that I'm maybe not thinking of?
Sometimes Bob Dylan, because I like Bob Dylan, and I also I'm a big Neil Young fan.
Okay,
but I don't have as high of a voice as Neil Young does.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, are those guys big influences of yours?
Oh yeah. I got into Bob Dylan when I was a teenager. So my first Bob Dylan record, because I'm in my 30s, was Modern Times from the 2000s, and then I had to go backwards.
Oh, okay.
And figure out that there was the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, and Blonde on Blonde, and Nashville Skyline, and all the other ones.
Did going back and listening to those earlier releases, did that kind of change? Like, did you appreciate those more because artists who've been around for decades, like Bob Dylan, who've had that kind of a career, everybody always says, oh, I like the earlier stuff better. But I'm curious if from your perspective, because you really discovered him late in his career, I'm curious if you feel that same way or no.
I mean, I like the early stuff. It's, I think most everything Bob Dylan does is genius, but I remember I saw Bob Dylan many years ago with my family in Amherst, Massachusetts. And I was sitting so I went with my mom and my dad and my brother. And I was sitting next to my mom, and he started playing stuff from Modern Times on up to Tempest, which was the latest record at that point. And my mom looks at me and goes, how do you know these songs? And I said, because he's not doing anything from the 70s. I think at the end he did Tangled Up in Blue, and my mom was like, oh, okay, I know that one. I know.
I've heard that he'll do that. Like, he'll kind of, he doesn't necessarily want to load up his set with a lot of the earlier material, which is interesting because there were probably people, I mean, they might not have shown it, but there were probably people in that audience who were actually not pleased that he wasn't leaning more on the earlier stuff. You know what I mean?
There were, behind us where the band Dawes was opening for him. So there was a couple guys there who I thought were older. They were probably my age or mid-20s.
Yeah.
I was a teenager. I was at the time. And they were there for Dawes and for the Modern Times up. So there was about half and half of the crowd was younger than half was wanted the 70s, 80s material.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. And tell us about this album. So you sent me, now this is your debut album, not your debut release because you have an EP that you had put out previously. but the song that we played at the top of the show, and we're going to play another one, of course, later. But these are from your 13-track full-length album.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yep. It's a 10-track, and yeah,
it's 10. Okay.
Yep. I made it in a Rocking Horse studio in Pittsfield, New Hampshire.
I'm bad at math. Rocking Horse. That's a name that comes up a lot on the show.
Yep. They're really great. And then so I went there and recorded with my guitar, and then I outsourced because I know some musicians in Nashville. I used to live in Nashville, Tennessee, and so I had the bass player, the upright bass player, was from upstate New York, and he comes down to Rocking Horse once a month and does a whole bunch of sessions.
Oh, no kidding.
And then the steel player was from Nashville. The fiddle player, Amy Alvey, now lives in Nashville, but she used to live in Boston. She's in a bluegrass duo called Golden Shoals, and I met her on a tour called the Massachusetts Walking Tour many years ago.
Yeah.
And then I had my friend Kat Kennedy sing on a couple tracks, and she's out in L.A., and then my friend Mary Hastings, who's out of Concord, New Hampshire, where I am technically out of until August 1st, but after the wedding I won't be there anymore. She sang backing vocals in Rocking Horse.
Okay.
And we used to play in a duo called New Leaves, and we stopped that duo last year because Mary went back to school full time.
Is that who I'm hearing? Because there's a couple of songs where, I hear this female backing vocal that it's just beautiful.
Thanks.
Or actually on, what track is it? Oh, I think it's Mansion on the Hill.
Yeah, that's...
She sings with you, and
Yes.
you sound amazing together.
Thank you. Yep. So yeah, and that's that song I wrote in... That's the only song I play that I wrote in college.
Really? Yeah.
Because when you go to Nashville, about your first writers round, you realize you have to throw all your material. You go, oh shoot, that's not good. I have to start over.
What is that, a writer's round, for people who don't know?
It's where you play. You get up with it's you and two or three other writers.
Yeah.
And you play 3 to 4 songs, and you just go around. So you just go right down the line.
Is that unique to Nashville, do you know? Or do they, I don't know, maybe I think maybe I've heard of that happening in New York too, but it seems like it's kind of an unusual thing, right?
It started in Nashville. There's a couple places that do it. There was a place prior to 2020 called the Open Door Cafe, and I played there. That was near like Hillsborough, New Hampshire. They would move locations. So they played basement of an old church. They played on a farm, and they would have one feature that would get 45 minutes, and then they would have a couple rounds of people.
Okay.
So yeah, people have taken that, but that was a Nashville model that moved its way up to New York. And
okay, is that intimidating the first time you do that? Because I mean, you're in Nashville, you're among some heavy hitters. Is that nerve-wracking or?
It was. I think the second time. Oh no! The first time I did it, it was called the Commodore Hotel, and the feature. I didn't know who the feature was, and I was going after the feature. I was in the last round of the night because I was new.
Yeah.
And the feature gets up and he says, "This song is a song that I wrote, and it's currently in the top 30 on the country charts," and plays it. And they goes, "This song was a top 20 2 years ago." And I went, "Can I not, why couldn't you put me on earlier? I don't want to follow that. Like, this guy's got hits. He has hits."
Yeah.
And then, so he played 3 or 4 hits, and then he's like, "This is a new song." And I went, "Thank goodness." That's intimidating.
I can imagine. Well, I'm dying to hear you play another one. If you're just joining us, we have Cameron Sutphin here with us live in studio. By the way, is this the earliest in the day you've ever played live anywhere?
I did when I moved back to New England in 2019. I think I did a radio interview near Pittsfield, Massachusetts. I believe that one was 7:30 or 8 in the morning.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I think that was the earliest I've ever played.
Yeah. Or it's not so much the playing, right? It's the singing that's the challenge at early in the morning. You sound great, though.
Thank you. I've had my coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, I can wake up and play guitar,
Yeah.
any time in the morning. So we'll do this one's called Without Her.
All right.
Every sunrise and set, every chord that I fret, it doesn't matter, it's all a waste without her. Every line that I write doesn't matter on a lonesome night. They're all throwaways without her. When I walk down the street, there's no one beside me. I'm alone in a crowd without her. When I turn out my lights, there's no one to hold me through the night. When I get up in the morning, I'm there all alone. And when I dream, there's only darkness, it seems. I can't see the light without her. When I go to the bar, it doesn't feel right at all, 'cause I try to forget I'm without her. When I lay my head to rest, all I feel is emptiness. When I get up with the sun, nothing matters now that she's gone. Every sunrise and set, every chord that I fret, it doesn't matter, it's all a waste without her. When I lay down to sleep and the Lord calls me, will I still be without her?
If you're just joining us, Cameron Sutphin is here with us live in studio. Are you playing out a lot? Do you play a lot of shows?
Yeah, so I'm lucky. So this is my full-time job, and so like this afternoon and sometimes mornings, a little later than this, about 10:30, I play nursing homes, and that's my quote-unquote day job.
Yeah.
And then I play a lot of folk venues, a lot of coffee houses, and library lawn concerts. I've got a couple of those coming up in August, and farmers markets, really any community event type thing.
Yeah.
Where they want, classic country and folk music.
Yeah, yeah. How long were you in Nashville when you lived down there?
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
3 years.
What brought you back?
There's no, I wasn't making any money.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because it's, you're surrounded by all this great talent, but you're surrounded by all this great talent. It's kind of a double-edged sword in Nashville, right?
Yeah, and so my roommate was a guy who played on the EP that I made named Ashton Lee, and he taught me a lot. He moved out to Colorado.
Yeah.
And then the following year, I moved back up to New Hampshire. I moved back to New England. I'm from Connecticut originally.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And, because it's a hard scene. The rent is insanely expensive because it's a booming city, and I do a lot better in New England than I ever did in Nashville. So I'm quite happy here.
Yeah, no doubt. But I bet you wouldn't trade the experience, right? Because I'm sure you learned a ton.
Oh, I learned a ton. I got to make I got to make a 3-song CD down there, and that was really nice. And I learned how to go into a studio.
Yeah.
So the second time I did it here, I wasn't as intimidated because I knew what I was getting into.
Right. That makes sense. Did you have mentors in Nashville? Did you have people who kind of took you under their wing?
I mean, the main guy, and I just met him because I needed a roommate, was my roommate Ashton Lee, and he's my age, and he went to school for music, and he knew way more than I did.
Yeah.
And he really helped me. And then I had this woman I met at a writer's round who was significantly older than me and had been writing in Nashville for about, I think at the time, 7 years, and her name was Deb Zeems. And she helped me learn how to like lay a song out on a page.
Yeah.
And how to write. And we did a couple of co-writes, and that really helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. How did you get into playing at nursing homes?
So I started playing in a church folk group. It was Holy Family Church at the time in Enfield, Connecticut, my hometown. And there were 3 nursing homes in the town, and every Christmas, one of the guitar players with the Lions Club would have us go play. And I asked somebody, I said, hey, could I just play here? Because I was like 13 and wanted any gig. And they said, yeah, you can play. And then I found out that they'd pay you for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it doesn't just have to be volunteers. Like, yeah, we'll give you some money.
Yeah.
And it just, and then I started calling more up, and then I figured out, well, I can go make a living at it and, not have to get, quote unquote, a real job.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And just go play a bunch of shows. And then at night you can do all the folk type venues. And
yep. That's fantastic.
There's a lot of musicians. There's a guy I met playing the Biggie. I played there a couple years at Connecticut building, a guy named Sean Taylor, who's out of Connecticut. And we were playing, late afternoon, and we discovered we did the same thing.
Oh.
We were doing the same thing.
No kidding.
He's like, oh, yeah, I was doing that the other day, and now I'm here, doing, 12 to 2, and I was doing 2 to 4 after him. And
yeah. Oh, wow.
we
Very
discovered
cool.
we did the same type of thing.
That's awesome. You want to play another one?
Yeah, we'll do one off of the Nashville one.
Oh, cool. Okay.
This one. So this song called Drive, and I put this out. So 7 years ago, the Nashville EP came out called Heartbreak Town, and it was my fiance's suggestion. I'll give Millicent all the credit for this. She heard the songs, and I had told her that I was going to put out this new 10-track, and she said, "Well, be a shame if because they had like no streams."
Oh, yeah.
And she said, well, be a shame if they're good songs, you do something with one of them. And so she said, you should make a video. And so I made a lyric video to this song, Drive. And I had someone in L.A. Make it, for me. And it was lyrics and tour pictures of all the tours I'd done with friends and camping. We camped all across the country with a couple friends.
Yeah.
And it got now has 11,000 views on YouTube, which is my first video to have over 10,000 views. So
excellent.
I was quite grateful to Millicent, my fiance, for making that suggestion because
yes.
It worked. So yeah, it's called Drive. It's about driving around the country. I've been to now 32 states in D.C.
No kidding. Wow.
The only one I flew to was California.
Yeah.
And that was last year to go to a music festival with my brother. So we both flew in and then flew out.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I didn't. Someone was like, oh, you're going to drive? I said, no.
That's a hike.
That's a hike. Although I was playing the Merrimack Public Library a few years ago, and I played this song, and this woman bought the CD, and she said she was doing a cross-country trip, and she was going to listen to it the entire time. And I said, well, it's only 3 minutes, so that might want to throw in other songs.
Right.
That's going to be on repeat for a lot.
Yeah.
I think she was going to either Nevada or Arizona, she said she was driving out.
Oh, okay.
So it's called Drive. Here we go.
Right.
Drive and drive, don't you ever sleep, counting down the exit signs, like promises you can't keep, like promises you can't keep. Drive and drive, watch the night turn into day, as long as you keep moving, you won't feel the pain, no, you won't feel the pain. Further along, there's a new place to go. You burn through your life, watch it go up in smoke. But there's always a new road, so you just drive and drive and drive. Driving round that New York City town like a desperado, you'll never settle down, you'll never settle down. You sing your songs. Pick your guitar, burn both ends of the candle, like you don't care if you fall, like you don't care if you fall. Further along, there's a new place to go. You burn through your life, watch it go up in smoke. But there's always a new road, so you just strive and strive and strive. Further along, there's a new place to go. Burn through your life, watch it go up in smoke. But there's always a new road, so you just strive and strive and strive. Strive and strive. Don't you ever sleep, counting down the exit signs, like promises you can't keep, like promises you can't keep. Like promises you can't keep.
I like it. Cameron Sutphin is here with us, alive in studio here, and sounding great. And yeah, I can see where someone that is I can see where someone would think that was a good driving song. I can kind of picture it. But like you said, not necessarily listening to it over and over and over, but.
I didn't even want to calculate all the times you have to repeat to get from here to the Midwest.
Now, how did you wind up working with Rocking Horse? Like I said, that's a name that comes up a lot on the show and a very popular studio. How did you connect? It's Brian, right?
Yes, Brian. Yes, Brian.
Brian, I forget his last name now. I know him too, and I'm blanking on. I know a lot of Brians.
I'm blanking on too. It's on the back of the album.
That's all right. Brian from Rocking Horse.
Yeah.
How did you connect with him?
I ended up, Googling studios in New Hampshire, and it's about 20 minutes from where I live, and they had samples on their website. And when I was making it, I was playing with Mary Hastings when we were playing with the duo. We were playing Market Days, and the guys running sound were in this band called Club Soda, and they their female singer was having a hip surgery. And they said to Mary, they said, we're doing this gig in Maine. Can you fill in on a couple of songs? And then they said to me, could you play two on some songs? And we were in front of this 21 outside. They said just under 1,000 people, which is really nice of them. And as we're getting set up and sound checking, I mentioned I was making an album, and they said, oh, where? And I said, Rocking Horse. They said, oh my gosh, we've been there. They're great. And they really are great guys. So I didn't know, the reputation. I just heard the tracks they were doing, and I said, "Oh, this sounds great. I'll go there."
Oh, it's Coombs, right? Brian Coombs.
Yes, Brian Coombs.
I knew it would come to me eventually.
They were great. They were great.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I've been to that studio. It's very impressive. Are you going to now? Do you have more? I don't know. How long has this album been out? Is this relatively
June
new?
4th. June 4th.
Oh, so this is brand new.
It's brand new. Yep, June 4th came out.
So you're probably not even thinking about the next one yet, or maybe you are. I don't know.
I've got a handful of songs.
Do you?
Yeah, that I could put out.
You strike me as someone who probably writes a lot. Do you write a lot of songs?
Yeah. I just wrote last month. I wrote 2, and so I don't have those memorized yet because I'm promoting a new album.
Yeah.
I said, well, I've got these 2. I've got I got those 2. I got 3 over here. I said, okay, that's half a record.
Yeah. When you're working with Brian, because a lot of people have described this experience to me, does he become? I mean, obviously he's engineering, he's recording you, but does he also become sort of a de facto producer? Because I know he's got a lot of ideas.
He does, yeah, he does, and that was really apparent when. So I did my guitar and vocals, and then I went in, I redid some vocals, a couple of tracks, and then when Mary Hastings was in the studio, she sings on 4 of the tracks, and he was very much saying try this here and try that there, and then he cut it together and okay, that sounds good over here, and we'll move it around, and then we've got a good track.
Doesn't surprise me. He's known for being kind of a wizard. He can, he's got a lot of ideas and can really,
Oh yeah, he's
very, very creative guy himself. Yeah, absolutely. You want to play another one?
yeah. Well, dude, this is one of. So I had a friend of mine suggest. So there's when I told him I was making a record, and I told him I was having backing vocals and fiddle, and he said you should probably have 1 or 2 tracks because I play solo so much that are sparse, and so this one's Foolish Game. So this is one of the 2 where
I have to tell you, this is one of my favorites.
Thank
'Cause
you.
I was listening to the whole thing last night. This is one
thanks.
Of my,
I appreciate that.
This is one of my favorites. This one really, really kind of hit me in a certain way. Yeah.
Thanks. I wrote it about sort of running away from relationships.
Yeah.
That's when I was much younger.
Yes. Yes.
When I was much younger. And, 20-year-old me was not smart.
A 20-year-old anybody isn't smart. Don't feel bad. All right, Cameron Sutphin, live.
I hate to see a friend flying toward the sun, only to get burned in the end. You're a sturdy soul, just like a chain, but there ain't no shame in lying in the bed you made. Can you fight the urge to run? Would you make it further if you stayed? Can you lie by my side for one more day? Where'd you learn that love's a foolish game? Maybe you're right. I put my heart on a shelf so high no one can tear it down. 'Cause I remember a lie I was told. Time will ease your pain and lighten your load. Can you fight the urge to run? Would you make it further if you stayed? Can you lie by my side for one more day? Where'd you learn that love's a foolish game? And you hear the sound of a slamming door, and you know you've heard it in your past before. Will you shoot me down like a cannonball? Will I see your face when the night turns to dawn? Can you fight the urge to run? Would you make it further if you stayed? Can you lie by my side for one more day? Where'd you learn that love's a foolish game? Where'd you learn that love's a foolish game? Where'd you learn that love's a foolish game?
Cameron Sutphin live in studio with us this morning. Yeah, I really like that song.
Oh,
a
thanks.
lot.
I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. We should, for those just joining us too, we should plug. So you've got one more live show before the wedding.
Yep, that's the Sandown concert series next Tuesday, and that's in Sandown, New Hampshire.
Now, what do now Sandown? Is that near Keene?
That's yeah. It's,
Okay.
Someone was posting on a Facebook forum that they wanted musicians for this concert series.
Yeah.
And I messaged, I just sent a private message to the people booking it, and with a track from the album and just my name and my bio, and they said, yeah, every Tuesday, and gave me a list of availability.
Oh, excellent. So is that something they do throughout the summer? Every
Yeah,
Tuesday throughout the summer?
yeah. That's so they have the so it's on Tuesdays, and they have a farmers market on Tuesdays with the musician, and then that shuts down, and then they have their concert series at night.
Oh, very
So I'm doing
cool.
concert series.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I'd never heard of it before till this year, and I can't wait to play it. It's gonna be
Excellent. By the way, I can confirm a new fan for you, Hope the Rapper, and he messaged me and was complimenting you.
fun. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Says you
Thank
sound really good. So
Appreciate
these studio tracks, have these been played on the radio before?
Some of them have, yeah. So I was on the show just before the album came out called The Folk Revival. That's out of Worcester.
Okay.
So, yep, that's Nick Noble's show. So, yep, he played a couple of them.
I'll have to look that up. That's not a show that I'm familiar with, but that's on in Worcester.
Yeah, that's out of Worcester. Yep.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Very cool. By the way, so when you play out, do you ever, is it always just you solo, or do you ever have other musicians join you?
It's pretty much, now it's always me solo. So I played in a duo with my friend Mary Hastings, also played in a duo with my friend Mary DeProto. That's many more years ago. I do have the bass player actually at St. John Jugon Church in the folk group. He told me to message him the tracks, and he said, if you're ever playing locally, I'll play. So we might do something, after I'm married.
Yeah.
And I'll have him backing me, but he doesn't want to travel too far. He's like just local Connecticut,
Yeah.
But it's mainly me. One of my favorite singer-songwriters, Guy Clark, who said, you can make a living if you can play solo because there's very little overhead.
Exactly.
So it's mainly been just me, but that might change. I might have a backing musician or two
Sure.
come along with me.
But there are advantages, of course, practically and logistically to being a solo act. I myself, I'm a musician, but I've only ever played in bands. So I know that, with bands, it's always, there's the challenges of working around, even just for rehearsals, working around everyone's schedules. And then when you're trying to book shows, okay, you got to find out, is everybody available to do it and this and that. So when it's just you and a guitar, you can,
I know
that part's pretty easy.
in Nashville, because there's so many bands, and so I'll give the example. My roommate Ashton Lee. So when he would book a show with his band, he had a guitar player, bass drummer. And he would sing and play guitar as well. And if the drummer couldn't make it, because I've got another gig,
Yeah.
he'd start calling around, and then he'd send the new drummer for that night the set list.
No kidding.
And go here's the covers, here's the originals, listen to the track, be ready to go.
Wow.
And you're expected to just go.
No kidding.
Same thing for bass player, guitar.
Yeah.
Here's the charts, here's the covers, here's the originals, listen to them, and this is the set list for the 2 or 3 hour show.
I'll be damned. No kidding. Wow. I suppose if there's a city where, you can pull that kind of system off, it's Nashville, right? I mean, maybe they do it that other places too, but wow.
They were playing tourist spot, Lower Broadway, and they had got done, and then this guy from a different honky-tonk runs over. He says, can you guys come play another 3 hours? Because our band they can't make it, something happened.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we can, but our bass player can't. He's got to go play over there. So they ran around, found a bass player, and went, here's the set.
Wow.
And they removed the originals because the bass player had never heard. So they just said, here's the set, and we'll substitute these covers. Can you do it? And he said, think so.
That's wild. That's incredible to me.
And they did another 3 hours, and he said, it went okay. Bass player knew 90% of, it's the same country covers. So he said he knew 90% of the set, and there might have been one song where he's like, I don't know that one. They just tell him what key it's in.
Yeah.
Okay, it's this key feels like that, and the drummer counts it off, and away they go.
That's amazing. But so you've really got to have your chops, though, in that kind of a situation, right? Because if you're in a scenario, or if a scenario might arise, I should say, where you're going to be called upon to, you got to either know these songs or you got to learn them really fast. Like you've really got to be on your game.
Oh yeah, I primarily went down there to songwrite, so I was not playing in a ton of bands and doing Lower Broadway much at all. But I went down there to do the writers' rounds and try to songwrite. But yes, the session players there are incredible as to what they can do on the fly.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
If you want a guitar solo, you say, well, there's a guitar solo right there. They'll play you 3 guitar solos and go, okay, pick one.
Yeah.
And it'll be in one take. 1, 2, 3. Okay, pick one.
Yep. Oh, that's amazing.
And it's on to the next thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible.
They're all so fast.
That's amazing. Do you want to play one more live one?
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, let's see which one we can do here. We'll do.
And if you're just joining us, Cameron Sutphin is here with us live in studio, sounding amazing.
Get the guitar tuned first.
Yeah, yeah. What's the name of the album, by the way?
It's called Part of Me.
Part of Me. Any story behind the title?
So that's the title track, and I just I named it that because I felt the album was pretty personal.
Yeah.
We'll do. So I said I play nursing homes. That's my day job.
Yeah.
So this song, this is the only pandemic song on the record. I promise.
Okay.
I didn't overload it. I know we're 4 years out, but this song came from I was visiting a particular assisted living in Kennebunk, Maine in 2020. They let me inside, which was incredible. And this woman after the show, and by came up to me, I meant 18 feet away because the staff wouldn't let anyone go near anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said, you know, I understand that there's this virus out there, but I'm in my 80s. And I just want to see my family, and I don't care because, honestly, how long do I have to live? And there's no end to this. And I went home that night thinking about it, and I wrote this song from her perspective and everyone there because there was absolutely no end in sight. And in 2021, when everything starts to open up, those nursing homes were dead last to open up.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And people didn't. They're like, it's back to normal. I'm like, but there's this one population that they won't let do much still.
Yeah.
And even in, it was just last year, some of them said no more masking in nursing homes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They were pretty.
Yeah, they waited.
They waited for a long time.
Yeah.
And navigating that, and I knew a lot of people that were working in those places that ended up, moving on to other jobs because, and that was, never mind the residents living, that was just the employees that just said, I've had enough with healthcare, I'm going to go. I've got a new career. Yeah. So this is this is the last time you'll be seeing me. I knew a lot of activities directors that just.
Was that stressful for you, by the way? I didn't, because until you brought this up, it didn't even occur to me. Like during the, at the height of the pandemic, playing these nursing homes, because in a lot of these nursing homes, like, once COVID got in there, it just, obviously it spread like wildfire because that's the most vulnerable among us, 80-year-old people.
So the first show was, I'll remember this day for it was April 29th was the first show back, and we did something outside in Vermont. So those started happening, and then I did a ton of shows over Zoom, and I pre-recorded stuff, and then and then Mary, my friend, and I we made because we couldn't do Christmas shows, so we made Christmas DVDs. Yeah, and I paid my rent in Christmas DVD sales, and I would we recorded, burned them, and I would go down to the post office every day of 5 or 10 of them stacked, going to Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Nashville. I had one in Wyoming that didn't have the technology but wanted one, to do a virtual show. And so I paid my rent that December in DVD sales.
Interesting, yeah.
So I made it work.
Yes, yes.
It was scary for a bit, but then it, the Zoom shows came out and it was okay. Yeah. And then, it was, okay, I can pay all my bills, and if this is the way they want it forever, I can pay my bills. Yeah. And once the public shows, open up more, I'll do those. Yeah, yeah. So this is called From a Distance. From a distance, that's how it's been for 6 months now. Who knows when this ends? Can't hold my son or my grandkids. All I get is a window visit. They told me if I hug them, I might get sick and die. But right now I give my life to hold them one more time. Don't know how I'm gonna make it through. This is lonesome, like I never knew. They can't tell me when I can kiss my son. They just tell me to be strong, but it gets lonelier every day. I don't see anyone's face. I don't mind risking my life to hold my family one more time. From a distance, that's how it's been for a year now. Who knows when this ends? Can't hold my son or my grandkids. How am I supposed to live like this?
Cameron Sutphin live in studio with us. Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hey, Cameron, before we run out of time, please let everyone know how they can find you online. Where's the best places to go to keep up with everything that you're doing, get your music, check out your live dates?
Yep, so it's Cameron Sutphin Music on Facebook and Instagram. And the dates are posted. The July dates are posted there. We'll have the August dates up soon. And then Cameron Sutphin on Spotify
And
or iTunes.
And for the spelling impaired, of course, S-U-T-F. I'm sorry, no.
That's okay.
I'm spelling impaired. S-U-T-P-H-I-N, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And then once you have that, you type that into Google, you can find everything about me.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Yeah, it's not a particularly common last name. So
No, once you have that spelling down, that's it. It's all there.
Yeah, exactly.
there,
And congratulations again on the nuptials.
Thank you. Yep, we're excited. We're less than a week away, so that's exciting.
Well, we're going to close out the hour with one more studio track from Cameron. This is called "What Makes It Great." Anything we should know about this before we play it?
No. So I wrote it. So I wrote it all the way back in it was 2017, and everybody in 2016, there were a lot of musicians writing protest songs with the line, "We don't need to be made great," and I gave myself a challenge to use that line, but to not be specific.
Okay.
Because Bob Dylan, when he wrote protest songs, was not specific. Anyone could use them for anything.
That's true.
You know, the time "Blowing in the Wind" was not specific. "Times They Are Changing" was not specific as to what the senators or congressmen were for or against. It was just general.
Yeah, you're right.
And so
I haven't thought of it that way.
So
Yeah.
I gave myself that challenge. I said, can I write a song with that phrase in it and not make it specific?
Yeah.
And it was about an old car I used to own that got up to 295,000 miles, and I got trade-in for it.
Oh, my God.
And the car out there just hit over 200,000 miles and
Wow.
still running. I've been very, very lucky with cars.
What kind of car is it? I'm curious now.
So the car out there is a Nissan Versa,
Okay.
and then the car in the song was a 2012 Hyundai Sonata.
No kidding. Wow. All right. Well, very good. So we will close with this. This is called "What Makes It Great," the great Cameron Sutphin, and we'll have to have you back again in the
thank
future.
you so much.
This was really wonderful. "What Makes It Great," Cameron Sutphin.
I got this car, 2012 Hyundai. Bumper's missing, headlights out, but it runs the same. The windshield's cracked, but it still drives. It's not what you see that makes it shine, but it used on Broadway. Almost a year ago to the day, it's traveled 50,000 miles since then. It's ready to travel them again. You don't need that flash and shine. You just need something to get you by. Keep your details, your chrome and flames. It's what's underneath that makes it great. Some men are rich and they'll let you know when on their sleeves put on a show. But I know the things men keep inside late at night when they turn out the lights. You don't need that flash and shine. You just need something to get you by. Keep your details, your chrome and flames. It's what's underneath that makes it great. It ain't fast, it's rusted through. It doesn't shine, it doesn't look new. But I don't need something fresh off the lot. I'll stick with what I got. You don't need that flash and shine. You just need something to get you by. Keep your detail, your chrome and flames. It's what's underneath that makes it great. It's what you do, not what you say. It's what's underneath that makes it great.